Hello, it's Rachel Lovegrove here. I've got a little video today about a practice that you could do on a travel day. I'm off to Malaga this afternoon to teach a retreat, and before I travel I'm always a little bit jittery. Are we going to get to the airport on time? Is everything going to go okay? What's the weather like? So this practice, this short practice, is a way of getting rid of those sort of jittery nerves. If you've got a more serious nervous disorder, then you would do a more restorative practice to slow the body down. But if you're getting ready to take action, to go somewhere, or maybe you're going to present something, then you get this little kind of feeling here, don't you, in your tummy? So we need to sort of try and shift that a little bit with this focus practice. So it's just a short practice to introduce you to some of the themes that you could do, that you could include in your practice on those kinds of days. So first of all, standing up is really important. Getting ready, getting the legs ready, getting the body ready. You might have had a bit of a sleepless night the night before, so you might be a bit tired or your body a bit achy. So we're going to stand in Tadasana, either feet together or feet slightly apart, and then start to brace the shoulders back and extend the arms down. And then we'll take some arm lift. So we'll take the arms up for Urdhva Hastasana first, and really push down through the heels and lift up through the arms. And this is to, as I say, lift this area up and start to release the nerves in the tummy. And then if you had shoulder problems, you might take the arms out to the sides instead, or even just keep the arms stretching down by your sides. And then Urdhva Badangalyasana, where you interlock the fingers. Now, as you extend the arms up in this pose, there's more of a narrowness to the lift, so it comes right up the center of the abdominal wall because the arms are narrower, and then that really helps to lift the abdomen, get rid of those butterflies. But keep the legs really strong, press the feet down, lift the kneecaps, and keep the eyes soft. Make sure you're not tensing your face, and then we always change the interlock as well. So the arms come forwards, arms come up. Make sure you're lifting, not just throwing your hips forwards. Obviously keep the legs strong, and then bring the arms down. And then you can do any combination of arm work, such as this one, Paschimma Badangalyasana, where you take the arms behind you, or you could fold your elbows, Paschimma Baddha Hastasana. You could do Paschimma Namaskarasana, like that. All of those arm positions. And then, of course, you've got Gomukhasana, where you take one arm behind the back and you try and catch the hands, or you catch a belt, and then the other one the other way. And one side's always a bit tougher than the other. So then you do those arm movements just to kind of get the blood circulating, get rid of that tension in the chest. And as I say, the arms extending helps to relieve this area here. Okay, so then we might go into a little sequence, because the mind tends to race when there's nervousness. It races ahead, it thinks about all the things that might, are going to happen, and you kind of get stuck in your brain a little bit. So in order to kind of free up the mind, sometimes you have to move the body. So we're going to take a slow sequence. We start with the arms up in Urdhva Hastasana, and then we come down to Uttanasana, and you could always go to the chair or a wall if you can't reach the floor. You can use bricks under your hands. This will stretch the backs of the legs. It will keep the head, keeping the head down also helps the brain to cool down. And then we step back or jump, but I'm showing the stepping method, into Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then back bends are very good for relieving the tension. So then we come forwards into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, keeping the toes tucked for the first one, rolling those shoulders back, lifting the chest. Inhale, push the buttocks up, back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then lifting one leg, coming forwards again between the hands, back to Uttanasana. And then stand up, throwing the arms back to stand up, coming back to Tadasana. And then we'll just repeat that. So big breath in, and then come down for Uttanasana,
head down straight away. So release the back of the neck. So often the head stays up because if we do that concave position, absolutely fine. But then eventually the head has to come down. And then step the other leg back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Look forwards and come forwards into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And if you want to, you can go onto the tops of the toes. So different action through the legs. Curve the chest, look up. And then back to the tips of the toes. Lift the buttocks up. Raise your left leg up, bring it forwards. Followed by the right. Body down. And then throw the arms back. And come up and stand up. And you can repeat that as many times as you like. You can add in other poses like Chaturanga. You can even add in a jump instead of stepping back, etc. And you do that as many times as you need to get the blood really circulating through the body. The other really good thing to do before you travel is just 1 or 2 standing poses of your choosing. Any of the standing poses would be beneficial. I'm going to go for Parivrtta Trikonasana because I need that twist in my body this morning to get rid of that. Not the anxiety so much as the pre-travel stiffness which comes sometimes because of that sort of subconscious anxiety that we have in the body. So I'm going to do Parivrtta. I'm going to take my back heel, my back leg foot to the wall. And I'm going to turn so that I've got my heel supported at the wall. And I'm going to take my left arm, move it forwards, bring the hand across the leg, keep the outer right hip back, twist, and then take that right arm up. Oh, and that really feels good in my spinal muscles and also in my brain. It's actually quite quietening for the brain to be in a twisting standing pose. And then swinging back up without falling over, and then the other side. So because I'm using the wall, I'm not going to jump. I'm turning that back foot first, front leg out, and then that right arm comes up and we swing it across. Push that right heel back. So you could be doing any standing pose you like. You don't have to do the same one as me. And then make sure the legs are firm, that you try and keep your head quiet, meaning the brain. So when you're in the pose, think about being in the pose. Try not to think about what's coming next, how long you stay there, all of that. Just be in the pose. And then you come back to Tadasana. Okay, so standing poses are really good. And then you could add in an inversion. Now, if you don't invert yet, that could be another repetition of dog pose. But maybe you could do that with your heels at the wall, with your heels up slightly. And make sure the head is down. Then it forms an inversion. And you could also do things like hand balance, elbow balance, headstand. Although I find that if I do my inversions once I get to my destination, just do headstand, shoulder stand, then that actually is a really nice kind of after travel practice to do. So any kind of inversion like that. You could even do the standing pose Prasarita Padottanasana, this one, and that can be an inversion too. Okay, with the head down. So the head moving down again means that the brain energy tends to quieten down, that the thoughts tend to quieten down. So it's very therapeutic. So the other thing you can do before you travel is twists. I would sort of avoid really long seated practices before you travel because you're going to be sat down probably for a number of hours. So as many standing actions as you can. So you could do a standing twist like I just showed, or you could do something like standing Marichasana 3, where you take the leg up onto a support. It could be a chair, it could be the bars here like this, and then you twist towards the wall. And that way again you're limbering in these lower back, middle back muscles. You're still standing up, so the energy is coming up. So I've got my hip against the wall I got my standing leg pretty straight. My knee, my bent leg knee, I'm going to lunge it forward slightly more. So then there's more a stretch on the front of this left thigh. Okay, so something like that. These bars are really useful for that. You can use a chair as well. You just put the chair right up against the wall. And here you can see I'm using the bars like this to turn. Okay, and then you could do then to finish something like Setu Bandha or even Shavasana. Shavasana's fine, but Setu Bandha, again, you've got that double action of the chest being open and yet the legs extending and the body quiet. So Setu Bandha with a bolster is fine, or you could use blocks. So in case you've forgotten what this pose is, this is Setu Bandha, supported, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, supported, shoulders come down, legs extend, and then you're tucking those shoulders under. And I'm turning my toes slightly in, so the front thighs roll in, back thighs are broad. And I'm using the mat just to pull my shoulders under a bit more, and then you can relax the arms. And that way you've got this activity in the chest. Again, there's an extension here, which opens the abdominal area, gets rid of those butterflies. And I would stay here for, 2 to 3 minutes, even longer. And then when you come out, either lift your buttocks and slide the bolster away, and then you can cross your shins on the top of the bolster. Or you could slide back and then you'd roll to your side and come up. And maybe you would do Shavasana. Maybe if the brain is still very, very active, you could leave it with just lying down with your legs crossed on the bolster as your Shavasana. So I hope that's helpful. And obviously you add your own poses into that sequence, but that's a really good pre-travel or pre-presentation or any time practice to do to settle the nerves. Thank you for watching.